They are getting better, especially now having traded away Smoothie. Zeyzal is their go-to guy. Fans want to see Zeyzal perform. They want to see good stuff out of him to really kind of have confidence in some of the decisions that the C9 staff has been making.
And truly, the rise to the top is still within these teams' hands. TSM absolutely in control of their own destiny. Cloud9 and basically all likelihood in the same boat as well. It's probably impossible to win all your games and not make playoffs at this point. So, still room to improve and room to make that postseason work. A blue side Aatrox ban, interesting enough for TSM. Of course, this is the first we're seeing of patch 8.14 in North America. Zoe nerfs, Aatrox nerfs, teleport nerfs. Talked about during the NELCS countdown. Also, we saw the EU LCS play in this patch as well as North American Academy.
Yeah, we've been seeing some pretty crazy picks coming out across the world. We got to see, Nuke Duck with the Zed mid. We got to see Viper playing Teemo bot. We've been seeing some pretty cool stuff. So, very excited to see if anything out of the ordinary does come out. But Zoe, as a first pick, blind pick here for Bjergsen. Going to be pretty standard stuff. It does give him the ability to kind of create a lot of plays for himself, though, and to be fairly proactive about that. One of the strongest champions in the game as far as creating those own picks, finding ways to actually roam down to bot, roam up to top, and really can take over a game.
Yeah, absolutely a very strong champion, and none of her bursts really went down in the patch changes. Kindred going to be locked in right now in the jungle for Blabber. He is 1-0 on the champion. Did lose with Sejuani last week, but of course still in the lineup here. I want to point out this is the same lineup Cloud9 did run in the previous week. They liked the 1-1 result. It's better than most of the results have been, so they kept with it right now. And Sneaky, by the way, has won only on mages, so I actually want to see if they play double mage yet again here and look at kind of that data to see if they want to keep playing that style as Braum is locked in.
Yeah, it will be interesting. And I mean, despite that stat for the LCS, obviously Sneaky was playing a ton of marksman in the Academy.
Yeah,
I want to say Challenger, but Academy. And obviously is very proficient on those champions. So certainly could be looking for that style of play. Had heard a lot of talk from some of the pro players about the fact that they thought marksman would be moving even more back into the meta with the TP nerfs because they felt that the mages were kind of more dependent on that TP. We'll see if that does kind of come through or if we're just going to see more of the same style of play.
Sure. And Sven's going to be locking in what's almost definitely his second Xayah game of the split. He himself only played one Swain and one Heimerdinger game. Otherwise, all marksman himself. Nothing too surprised. Actually will delay the Xayah pick. Interestingly, moves over to Sejuani. So another tank jungle here for Grig, as he's been the main starter for the entire split here for TSM. Is Cloud9 very quickly lock in this Lulu.
Yeah, so Lulu to answer the Zoe in the mid lane. It's going to be fairly interesting to have that matchup. Jensen obviously did get counterpick there, and they are going to be red side, so they have the ability to actually save their last pick for Licorice here as well. That is certainly one of the advantages on the red side, though most people are talking about blue side as having a pretty heavy advantage because of a lot of the must bans that there are on red. Either way, will be a good matchup there for Jensen, and it does kind of lead me to believe that you're going to get another marksman, another kind of high consistent DPS source from the bot lane, perhaps.
Sure.
Lulu is very strong alongside those marksmen, buffing them up, supporting them. And with Braum there also, very easy to proc that Braum passive with double marksman to have a lot of team fight presence and strength.
Definitely agree. Cloud9 so far pretty well-rounded lineup. Not a crap ton of magic damage. Lulu only does so much, but at least some sort of breadth to the lineup right there. TSM, of course, still waiting for the marksman pick, but with Xayah not banned here, TSM can grab that Xayah without much issue unless Cloud9 rush pick it, which I guess could be a possibility. Wait to see what comes out of this one as he's played some Xayah already. One final ban for TSM, and we get into the last phase of picks.
Yeah, it could be that C9 taking the Xayah. They could also go for something like Lucian Braum, which is a very strong bot lane duo. Grab a little bit more magic damage perhaps up in the top lane, even with something like a magic damage dealing tank. Like a Gragas is fairly popular these days. Yeah. But there's also things along the lines of Kai'Sa if they want, a marksman who is going to be able to build more into the AP style of build. So definitely a lot of options here on the table for Cloud9. The question is kind of, if you take away the Xayah, are you really denying more than you're kind of hurting yourself, right? And I think a lot of people right now feel that Rakan is so strong even on his own that you don't really need that pairing. And
yep. Of course, there were Rakan nerfs as well, but of course still worth picking up on TSM side. Dr. Mundo going to be the lock-in for Cloud9. They had banned Gnar and Gangplank, what they consider the most two oppressive top laners against him, but does conspicuously leave up the Darius, who has been a common counter pick as well. We'll see if Ant wants to play that as Xayah gets covered on the left-hand side.
It's interesting because Darius has really been kind of falling out of favor in the LCK and around the world, and it's not getting picked nearly as often, but it is still a very strong pick into the Mundo. Kled is something that I've been seeing kind of more of also. I do think is a very, very strong matchup into the Mundo. Cho'Gath is obviously fine. It's just kind of a safe blind pick if you do want just another frontliner there. But it is, I would say, an advantageous matchup for the Mundo. So you're kind of self-counter picking a little bit there. Mundo does generally fare extremely well into all sorts of tanks. And the flashing of the Teemo bot. Shout out to Viper there from Griffin in the LCK.
Yep.
Doubt
Ooh,
we're gonna
I would
get
like
it.
this, actually.
Quinn, there is a possibility of
yes!
and we're going to get it. Nice.
I like Quinn a lot. She has been a strong bot laner for a while, has risen to popularity recently, though, but has been exceptionally high win rate in solo queue for quite a while.
Yeah.
And so Sneaky going to bring out Quinn, who has definitely been dominating solo queue over the past couple of months, and going to be fun one to watch out for here.
Yeah, I mean, very recently, Quinn was actually highest win rate in 3 roles. Like in top lane, mid lane, bot lane, highest win rate period, very strong champion, can be played very, very well in that bot lane, and also has a lot of kind of roaming potential. It can be trickier, I think, to team fight straight up on this champion, especially when you are kind of on the lower side range against a Sejuani, a Cho'Gath, and a Rakan who can engage and kind of catch you, but you can dominate lane, you can roam around and create picks, and it's going to be very interesting to see how Sneaky performs on this. I believe it is the first time we've seen it in the NALCS in this split.
Oh, yeah, easily. And looking at competitive stats kind of up to date so far, it was played in the LPL twice, but as a top laner. So this actually might be the first sort of bot lane Quinn pick of at least top 5 regions. We had some games of it over in CBLOL, one game over in OPL, so a couple of other regions have played bot lane Quinn, but as far as the big 5, this may very well be the first for bot lane. It's going to be exciting to watch for either way. Sneaky has always been a player who has been willing to play a lot of new things, plays a lot of solo queue streams almost every night, was one of the first Jhin players, one of the first Xayah players, and now going to be on this Quinn, bringing it out in North America.
Yeah, and I have been seeing it in Challenger, and all jokes aside, I mean, Tyler 1 is very high in solo queue, and this is one of his most popular picks, right?
Yeah.
He is, I think, the highest rated marksman player on the ladder right now, and it's a popular pick for him. So a lot of players are seeing it in Challenger, picking it up, starting to play it more. Certainly can be a very powerful pick, and super excited to see how he is going to perform. He's elected to go Electrocute here, and we have Spellbook on the Braum. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, so Spellbook, of course, got changed a couple patches ago, got buffed. I know it's one that you've given some thought and some discussion to, where basically the cooldown gets a lot lower, quicker, and your sort of mandatory cycle of summoners is a bit shorter as well. And so, yeah, it's going to be the default summoner of Cleanse for Zeyzal. Lets him get away from things like Sejuani, get away from Zoe, while also having combat summoners at his beck and call to make aggressive plays. Yeah,
I mean, you can kind of, with the Cleanse, obviously be the one who always wants to step forward and absorb that initial crowd control, and then you can cleanse out of that, kind of get back. It will be interesting to see how well he utilizes it. I basically feel like Spellbook can be kind of subbed in for any tanky champion who would go Guardian instead, or Aftershock, or these sorts of things. It can fit very well on Tom Kench, on Braum, on even some of the top lane champions. But if you're not being proactive with it, if you're not actually pretty frequently cycling through those summoners, then I think the value does go down pretty heavily.
Yeah, absolutely the case. So it is going to require some level of aggression here. Of course, Quinn, definitely an aggressive champion. And we'll see if they can get out on this one. Of course, Xayah, not the most escapable of champions, absolutely. Can get away with the ultimate a little bit, but not always a sick of self-feel. It is going to be TT Xayah, though, and so we'll see how that lane pressure kind of goes. Right now, it's going to be that red leech on the bottom side, as we have a red leech on the top side as well, as Licorice will be a little bit late to lane.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these summoners match up. Obviously, Sneaky is taking Barrier, a little bit more kind of combat focus there on the Quinn, and there had been a lot of talk about how much teleport we were going to see. There is no teleport on either of the mid laners here. There's one teleport on the marksman, so nothing too crazy. Obviously, partially that is due to the champions in the game and the setups there. Maybe Jensen would take TP against a more kind of passive matchup, but going up against Zoe and Sejuani, not having that cleanse would be pretty dangerous.
All right, well, watch out for all this then. Right now, the bot lane being shoved back and forth. Level 2 looks like it's going to be first for the C9 squad. You can see TSM walking back as a result. They know the next minion is level 2. And watch out for Vault plus Braum Q. That could be a force flash right away. Good dodge there. Minions coming forward as Blabber is going to get...
He's going to get his mark.
Yep. 5 more attack speed on the Q.
Yep, always going to feel really good. And the important part is we do like to talk about so often is that 75 range that you get at 4 bounties. So getting that stacked up pretty quickly is so important. Team fighting in the mid game on a 500 range marksman can be very difficult, especially with all this engage that we kind of talked about, some of the things that Sneaky's going to be having to deal with. Obviously, Blabber will as well, so it's always going to feel good to get off to an early start there.
Definitely the case right now. Gold 100 in the lead of Cloud9 as the early shove for the Shogath comes around. We're going to get a quick steal on this top side Krugs as well, so it's going to feel pretty nice as Licorice is farming under his turret and generally holding up okay in the matchup. So, as you mentioned, you thought it was a bit Mundo favored, and we'll watch as time goes on. And we'll watch team fight pressure as well, of course. Hanzo actually has hard crowd control. Licorice, of course, going to be invincible and maybe has to yield into 1v1 later on, but we'll keep track of everything else. Lulu early pressure in the mid lane, watching this one out, is Jensen and Bjergsen, two players we have really called attention to as no longer being those MVP candidates they used to be in Splits of Gold. I want to see them kind of step back up. Bjergsen definitely on a high-profile champion such as Zoe. Jensen on the Lulu. We have seen those champions make big plays, but not that typical hard carry champion you're looking at.
Yeah, definitely the case. I mean, while they have still been performing fairly well, for so long in the NALCS, when people talk about mid lane, it's Bjergsen and it's Jensen. And those are the two guys that everyone points to. Those are the two guys that everyone thinks are the two best. And, you know, really looks like they had been dominating for so long. And this split, I think it's much more wide open. These guys have not been the clear 1 and 2. A lot of people have been talking about Power of Evil, for example, and how well he has been performing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of up to both Jensen and Bjergsen to be able to step up and really kind of reassert that dominance to show that they are still those top-level players and that they can perform at that super high level. And that's something that Bjergsen was able to do a bit of last week with his Talon performance, which was probably one of, if not his best game of the split.
Yeah. And of course, more of that is what the fans want to see. So we'll see if it comes through. Quick trinket ward. Blabber goes, Grig is here. Can't steal this very cleanly. And you're going to get one little small chicken for 10 gold as Grig's going to try to set up on this. And gets the smite plus the auto attack. So nothing big stolen away on Blabber's side, but he tried.
Yeah, but the one thing that's actually pretty big about that is he just forced out Grig's smite with the scuttle spawning on this side of the map. So that should give him priority with his bot lane pushing. Mid lane pushing should be a very, very easy scuttle, and Grig isn't even going to bother actually trying to contest for that. So nice little trade there for Blabber, and the pressure does end up resulting in something.
It does result in something. It might have been stacked as well, so let's do pretty good on this side. Wait for going back and forth on the bottom side. Right now, not seeing a farm lead or really that much of a pressure lead either for Sneaky and Zeyzal. This could be the first step. Nice, gets away from the sidestep, and now almost has a stun. This could be really big damage on the support. Mitsu's gonna have to jump backwards, does stay alive. No Summoner's Burn just yet. A lot of pain coming through. That late root does hurt Zeyzal, but they stay alive.
Yeah, still a one trade there by Sneaky. Really nice sidestep, actually, and Blabber just straight up going for this very early dragon. Getting this Ocean Dragon pre-6 minutes going to feel so nice for that laning phase for them. Really will give them an advantage, and they're trying to set up the pre-6 dive onto Mundo here. This is a level 6 Haunt, so this should be hard for Licorice.
And he would get 6 on this way, but has no way of getting those minions quickly enough. A lot of damage coming through. There's a stun on the knockup as well. Aftershock has timed out, but it's going to be a trade on a Haunter. Kill still great all the same. It'll be time to TP back in 10 seconds.
Yeah, getting that kill back was very big, though, for Licorice. He's not going to lose nearly as much. The cannon is actually tanking so many shots that he will lose that minion, maybe a couple more, but he's going to pick up most of this experience. So still a nice proactive play there from TSM, but Licorice definitely not losing that much. And we'll be pretty happy about how he actually performed this. This is well set up from TSM, trying to get that dive down into Licorice pre-6. Grig tanking quite a couple shots there, but then got to kind of back off and maybe should have taken a couple more shots before actually trading the aggro. It felt like either it should have been Haunter from the start, and then he tries to flash out, or Grig should have tanked more shots with his passive and kind of waited until he was lower, but it was a little bit halfway.
Right, the reason I thought it was misplayed is because Grig has Aftershock. And he dropped aggro, then queued in and triggered Aftershock after Haunter already grabbed it. So he actually wasted all the bonus armor MR he had. If like I said, you just like throw all your buttons in, take your Aftershock, take 2 more turret shots with that buff on, then trade it away. And Haunter probably doesn't die if you do that.
And especially with the passive also, right? The initial actually shots are
he
going
took
to be
the first
reduced
one
by
of the
the
passive.
armor, and then you have Aftershock stacked with that. So definitely agreed it could have been played better. Either way, it was pretty nicely done there from Licorice, and as a result, he's not going to be too behind whatsoever. And talking about that matchup a little bit, it is kind of Cho'Gath that gets the push early on, but especially when you're looking at the champions out on the map, as Blabber was spotted on that ward, so Hanser should be aware of this. You know, it's something where Mundo builds so easily into MR. Anytime I'm playing Mundo and there's 3 magic damage dealers on the top side of the map, it feels like a very easy game generally, because Sejuani, Zoe, Cho'Gath, those are the 3 that are most likely to interact with you. They all deal magic damage. You build very easily into Merc Treads, very easily into Spirit Visage, and then you're generally not under a lot of threat. So that's probably the only time they're actually going to get to kill him in this laning phase. And you know, from here on out, it just kind of gets easier for Mundo, where he can start taking more aggressive trades onto his opponent. And it's not that he'll absolutely dominate the Cho'Gath, but he should have priority, you know, as you get further into the game in that 1v1.
Yeah, and Licorice's power spike in terms of starting power dice. He's got stopwatch ultimate, so you get low, press R, press whatever your hotkey is for that button, and you get like 700 health back by the time they can hit you again with the turret shooting the whole time. So yeah, it could be very difficult for Licorice to ever die again. Ocean Drake, of course, nice for the team still. TSM up about 400 gold, which is kind of their reward for the extra 100 gold first blood plus the assist on top. Yeah. Otherwise, a really equal game. A 2 camp lead for the jungle, a 2 CS difference in the bot lane, a 5 CS difference right now in mid as Zoe's going to clean this one up. It really is a pretty tight race so far as TSM hopes to hold on to their playoff spot, and CNN hopes to pick up about 5 spots in the standings. And now it's time for top lane pressure. The flash jump forward. There is no escape for Hanser. He's going to go for the silence, going to look for a knock eventually, but does not have a way out. Blabber grabs himself the kill. C9 2-1.
Nicely done. They actually forced that flash out on the initial dive. Now Blabber with the flash can fully commit to that. The slow's landing there from Licorice, and they chase him down, they burn him down, and he did save his TP after that initial dive. So again, he's not going to lose too much. So much of these kills really does revolve on where the minions are, when TP is up or not, and just pretty straightforward stuff. Licorice landing the cleavers, Blabber flashing in, and they just train him down straight up.
And I like the kind of read by Blabber. I'm not sure if it was right or not, but he thought, you know, it's going to be hard enough to kill him. I don't want to give my teammates too many turret shots. He flashed to get into range of a champion that was going to be slowed already by the Mundo, but thought they needed the time, so chose by the Summoner's Fault to do that. Hopefully will not come to bite him in the end. And it was otherwise a clean kill. Ties up the score overall in this game, and now it has to re-engage on his Ven. Oh, actually blocks the potential route on a Sneaky, a trade of ultimates now. I really like that backwards shield, though. It made Sneaky able to keep chasing forward. I really like that play out of Zeyzal. Yeah. Will not become a kill.
Really good stuff. I mean, forcing out that ultimate from Sven is going to mean there's a lot more ability for them to actually commit in and try to go for a kill. Zeyzal has actually spellbook swapped over to the Ignite. Blabber is on this side of the map, so they could look for a potential fight, but Blabber does not know he was spotted, and that Grig is down here waiting, but Sneaky actually just caught him there.
That was big.
With the W, so nicely done.
Yeah, really cool stuff right there. That is, of course, the big benefit of this champion. It's kind of meant to be an assassin, so her Scout Hawk helps make sure that she's not getting surprised. And good job there, Sneaky, Quinn, and Valor, the true duo of bot lane. Zeyzal helping out with his magical door.
I think some mid lane looking pretty even overall. C9, I think, pretty happy to just kind of play back and scale up a little bit here.
Base check. Grig is marked. Pretty good damage here. Jumps over the wall. Has not yet triggered the keystone. Decent damage right there.
Yeah, Blabber failing the hop over the wall. Tried to go over an area that's a little bit too fat for Kindred to get over.
Not strong enough legs, sadly. That's too bad.
But either way, I don't think that would have been a kill. At most, you're maybe forcing a flash, but probably unlikely. At best, you're more likely just going to get an ult defensively out from Grig or something like that. Either way, you're going to be able to push him out of the jungle a little bit, getting a little bit of pressure down there, and has that 2 early bounties, got the Gromp, got that initial scuttle, so doing fairly well in that regard. But you know, I have to give credit to TSM and their warding. They have really had eyes on Blabber most of the time, and you know, been able to kind of see where he is going around. You know, partly due to the deep ward on bottom side from Mithy. They had spotted him in the top side river a couple times as well, thanks to both Grig and Hanser. So TSM being pretty diligent about their warding, and the fact that Kindred can be very, very deadly if spotted.
Time for the repeat. There is flash now for Hanser. Can he get around the cleavers? Everything else. A nice knockup is going to keep Blabber outside that fight the entire time, but Licorice still pushing forward. Now Grig is here. That has to come right back out. No stuns to come out, though. Did not want to stun him out of the turret when he was there. Didn't want to risk the ultimate, so has to walk back, and the health comes back up for Mundo.
Yeah, that was a really nice knockup, actually, from Hanser, denying Blabber instead of Licorice, who was on him, because Blabber really was going to be that big damage threat that would be able to burst him down. With Grig coming in, that was going to be more than enough to actually ward off Licorice himself. So pretty calmly played there, no flash forced. onto Hanser, and Licorice down his ultimate, so
Yeah.
will be a little bit vulnerable. Again, because he went Merc Treads, because he is building into MR, and all their threat is magic damage, even with the ultimate, it's going to be a tough task to actually burn him down. So I don't think we're going to see TSM doing too much aggressively on the top side anymore. It's just much more about Grig being there to actually ward off any potential ganks.
Yeah, and he was there making sure that he wasn't getting killed by Blabber. Of course, that wasn't true. Blabber had run over, grabbed Wolves, now onto Gromp, going to be able to keep that farm going. And kind of as expected, Kindred much more farm than Sejuani in the jungle matchup so far. Has the individual kill. That feels pretty good. But again, just a tied game. And I remember going back to the NALCS countdown, Jat talking about Cloud9 should pick for late game. And I don't typically view Quinn as an insane late game carry. That said, have not interacted with bot lane Quinn much at all as a player, so...
And I will say that Kindred, Mundo, Lulu do have fantastic late game, right? So that can be some opportunities for them to kind of scale up and really potentially make a bigger difference in the team fights. But yeah, as far as the straight up marksman matchup, I would definitely agree that you're going to tend to favor Xayah there. And
play, not quite the stun, but now in comes the charm, the knock of the follow through. They're going to get the bubble, and he's going to quickly put up Lamb to fight. Here comes the re-engage, Sneaky in the backside. Sven Olsef gets right back out of this one. Blabber's still alive. Looks at the re-engage. Mithy is very, very low, and the chase down comes through. Sneaky picks up the kill. The overdive on Kindred does not pay off, and Sneaky going to fly away.
Yeah, Sneaky going to chase down Grig here as well. They should be able to get this kill also.
Yeah, there is 0 ways out for the Sejuani revealed in the brush. They get the kill over, and a 2-0 start for Sneaky on the Quinn.
And they get the bounty there on the Kindred. Also, really nice response, and that is one of the strengths of the Quinn. Despite the fact that she may not be as strong in those straight-up team fights, able to get there so quick with the ultimate, flying over, responding first, and despite the fact that Licorice had his TP canceled there by Haunter, another mark goes over to Blabber. That's 4 marks now. Getting the kill with the bounty onto Grig, as well as picking up the dragon here afterwards. So really nice stuff for Cloud9, and that is a lot that just went their way.
Yeah, power spikes activated. The question now comes to, can C9 hold on to this level of lead? Double Ocean still pretty early. Lots of extra kills and gold. We watch this fight again.
And this looks a little bit disjointed. So when that ult misses, Grig turns around, Bjergsen turns around, but Mickey is actually going forward. So a little bit disjointed on the initial engage. And then Zeyzal and Sneaky able to come over here. Blabber being protected by Jensen with that wild growth, with the shields. The fact that the rest of the DPS is being zoned out, they cannot actually finish off that kill on Kindred. So yeah, really nice zoning play from the C9 bottom lane, but TSM are able to strike back. They get that first turret on the bottom side thanks to a lot of the pressure that Mithy and Sven had been having. Yeah,
that's really good. Some of that is, of course, the power of bringing a teleport in the lane. Sven was first to finishing a major item with the Storm Razor. He had that well before Sneaky did. And yeah, that pressure actually pans out quite nice for that side. So brings the gold back to equal, 25.3 apiece. TSM can feel pretty good about turning that one around. So the 3-kill difference, of course, equalized by that turret kill. So you look back at the top lane, and it's going to be an exciting one, guys. They both have 2,000 health. Neither's going to die.
Very unlikely, at least. I mean, if you play super aggressively on the Mundo, you can eventually actually run this guy down. But in competitive play, you have to play respectfully enough to the junglers that it's very unlikely that will ever happen. Yeah. Going to be interested to see what Sneaky does here as far as the builds. I've been seeing mostly Shiv as actually a second item after a Storm Razor for this Quinn. But, you know, traditionally more people do go for kind of rapid fire. That's what I'm expecting to come out of Sven here on the Xayah. So we'll be interested to see if they go for that or if he goes into something else. You had used to see like a lot of lethality in the past from top lane Quins and this sort of thing, but generally speaking, it's more of a standard crit build. Storm Razor into a Shiv and then IE third. That sort of stuff can be pretty powerful on the Quinn.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a Champion getting a ton of play in solo queue right now, looking over at a bunch of sites, but yeah, you are seeing mostly crit builds. A couple are going lethality, but that's the rarity here. So Storm Razor into more attack speed makes you think it's going for the crit build. So still a very, very close game, and it starts to pan out a bit more, and it's going to be fun watching what Quinn can do, because we have seen Quinn, we saw the drop down earlier in the game, has been a relatively popular top laner in the past before, mostly when she was very overtuned, and it was, you know, this big split pusher that was a lane bully, but tended to fall off because the other player was like playing Poppy and out-tanked you.
Yeah.
And of course, again, the comps are quite different. There are other carries on the team. There's 2 other tanks in the team, so the context is different here. But I'm curious sort of what kind of map movements get played, because one thing we've seen with all the new innovation in bot lane, people playing mages, people playing things like Heimerdinger, is can you play a style other than, well, I'm going to take the farm and then wins the team fights? Quinn is a roamer. You have double your movement speed while out of combat, running around trying to find someone to attack. Sneaky has not been a roamer for much of his professional career. So it does require sort of different inputs into your sort of brain, what things you look for, what your outputs are going to be for the team, and I want to see if he can excel in a new playstyle.
Yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see. And I mean, one example, and it's obviously not exactly the same, but sometimes how you see Twitches actually play against split push is sometimes similar to kind of how Quinn can play. You can have your Mundo actually pushing up in that 1v1, and then Twitch shows up. In this case, instead, the Quinn can perhaps then show up and kind of create a side lane advantage. Obviously, the ultimate can also just be used as like a pseudo teleport. You move around the map so quickly, so you can go push out a side wave and then come back. But fight over the scuttle here could break out.
Weak point available.
Oh.
Trying to help in this one. A quick bubble on the side. Now look at his Fierce walking away. Now they found the stun up at the bottom. And they're going to shut down the Quinn. Flash not even used. A pick off there in the wings. And TSM get the kill and Rift Herald.
Yeah, Sneaky just kind of wandered in there all by himself and ends up in a 1v4 situation, goes down very, very quickly. A bit of a botched fight here from Cloud9. You know, Zeyzal actually missing the block on the Zoe attack as well, coming over the wall and putting Jensen very low there too.
And TSM now kind of grabbing back into this one. The thought was maybe TSM don't know how to shot call in a late game and C9 can just scale to safety, but TSM looking good so far. Sub 20 minutes have picked up now 2 unanswered turrets, despite losing the Drakes, and sit on a reasonable gold lead of 1,000.
Yeah, and they have the Rift Herald still in the bank, right? So they've knocked down the outers in top and bot. That mid lane turret is obviously still alive, but you have to think that if TSM orchestrates well around that mid lane, drops the Rift Herald there, that could be the last of the outers and a pretty significant gold advantage. But here it is again, Jensen getting slept. The block kind of missed here by Zeyzal. He tries to go up, and it looks like it just barely goes around him, and Sneaky trying to go in and actually assassinate Bjergsen, but everyone coming back to Bjergsen very quickly. Mithy able to hop over to him. Greg jumps over the wall. Xayah shows up very quickly, so just kind of underestimating the response time that could come in from a lot of those TSM members means Sneaky goes down and the Rift Herald goes their way. Yeah,
maybe just with Fog of War, he didn't know anyone was there, but the first hit on Zoe was fine. Chunk and a half, get out. But yeah, running into Fog of War where the other team is, definitely a huge misgiving there for Sneaky. Got himself killed, but we reset onto the game 600 apart. And as you mentioned, Rift Herald in the inventory of Greg. TSM ready to use that when it's needed. Baron Nash respawning. Cater mark on the very bottom side of the map, going to be hard to pick up, so he's going to sit there on 4 marks for a while. And now look at the next big play as when the bubble comes in, but no cooldowns yet available to punish Jensen. He'll stay alive.
Yeah, and that was actually a very well-timed polymorph from him. Right as the Drowsy is about to complete, he polymorphs Bjergsen, which kind of messes up the timing on actually landing that Paddle Star into the slept target. So that in combination with the fact that Blabber was there, putting him back. But look at the damage here on a Zeyzal.
Burns the cleanse, gets away, and walking in a straight line, outplays Greg's skill shot, but a re-engage to be through now, looking for the assassination. They picked out Mithy, and Blabber's going to stay alive with the Lamb's Despite as well. Greg flashing out to keep up in this one, but a cleaver lands, and Greg is flashless. Watch out for Sneaky, going to try for the outplay up against Sven. A double kill finally comes through as the chase did come in. Nice Q flash, the knockup as well. Sven not long for the world, the pickup, but a trade kill, and actually another comes through for Bjergsen. Nice play on the backside, makes that fight a lot closer than it had any right to be. 3-2 favor of Cloud9.
Yeah, 3-2 in the extended play there. Cloud9 do go 1 ahead, and a nice aggressive play there from Blabber, honestly, jumping in, knowing his limits very well, picks up another bounty and some kills, and really started off that fight effectively for Cloud9. Feels like had they just stayed together as a 5-man squad, maybe they could have got even more, but they kind of diverged and had some chasing Honster and some chasing the rest of the team. We'll watch it one more time. Bjergsen with a lot of early poke here. Good cleanse to actually not only avoid that damage, but end up avoiding the Sejuani ult. And then Blabber flashing in, able to finish off Mithy, gets the ultimate down, and the chase is on here. Licorice very strong at this point in the game. Unless Xayah is hitting Licorice, she's really under no threat whatsoever, so they do pick up 1 kill on the side, and then the Q flash from Zeyzal allows Blabber to grab another, but trade does come out. That Xayah pullback.
Yep, sitting on control in the brush as well. They're actually pretty safe to play around Vision. That was pretty nice out of the TSM side, making it closer than it maybe should have been. Back to a tied game in gold. Herald timing out in about 20 seconds, so TSM will have to use that soon. The only open turret is mid lane, and pretty easily defended by Lulu right now, so good luck with that one. Sneaky kind of look to the play, doesn't find much here. Out he goes.
Yeah, and have to say, I like the build here quite a lot from Blabber. I think an early Blade of the Rune King against Cho'Gath Sejuani is going to be very, very effective. And he's going for the attack speed style build. Could go into a third item Zeal, Hurricane style build, and really you can be very effective at actually shredding that front line. He does have his extra 75 range already, and you know, is going to be quite effective in the team fights at this point. But TSM do knock down the last outer there. Well used Rift Herald, and has been very good early game play from them, moving around the map effectively, you know, pressuring these side lanes. Despite the fact that Sneaky has looked pretty good in the fights, he has been under his turret. Sven and Mithy have been the ones pushing, using this Zyra Khan duo quite effectively.
They really have, I gotta say. Sven's, I think, been having a very good split in TSM, even though their spring split was only a 5th-6th finish. Their summer split, they're 5-5. It's not been the result TSM fans expect from their favorite team. But Sven has been very, very good, I would say, pretty much the entire split long. And a lot of performances like this, where he's either lane dominant or getting a lot of pressure or carrying the team fights. And definitely, I think, a player that fans can get behind quite a bit. I think he's not really missed much of a beat here. TSM in a pretty solid spot, a couple hundred gold ahead. And the meme for the team, again, is do nothing then lose, but they're doing plenty of stuff and staying ahead. And it feels like they're in a good spot to continue dominating this game.
We are getting to see a little bit of kind of the Quinn power roaming around the side lanes being showcased. So, you know, Sneaky just goes out to the side lane, pushes that wave, comes back very quickly to the team, so he can create odd man advantages by roaming so quickly, by moving around the map so quickly. And, you know, Sven is going to have to be relying on the teleport and his much lower out of combat move speed. So we're going to see how effectively C9 can split push, because right now, Mundo down on the bot side, Sneaky could head back up to top lane, get that pushing for them as well, and it's going to be up to this 3-man squad to stay safe and to, you know, kind of hold down the fort in the mid lane.
So far, the fort's been held a little bit. I mean, the Rift Herald charge made it a bit harder, so now C9's out of all their outer turrets, but that's kind of the hope. We've had Mundo splitting in the bot side for a while. Licorice comes back up now as the Haunter Cho'Gath holds that wave. Burns Feast to grab a cannon and some more health, but C9 now looking at a bot lane play, actually. Instead of playing around the Quinn, it's playing around where Licorice was. Rico's coming through and then actually going for the play, and he's completely alone. This actually could have been a chance at forcing a flash or something, but they don't go for it. They're going to just simply back right off and trade the farm yet again.
Yeah, they will back off. You know, didn't have the minions, so perhaps they didn't feel confident to pull off a dive, not knowing where a lot of the TSM members are. You know, C9 really has no deep vision whatsoever. If you look across the map, both teams have been focusing very heavily on vision denial and really don't have any wards past the river. So it makes it difficult to go for those aggressive plays, not knowing, are there a couple men behind Haunter? It's going to take some time to train him down, you know, even in that 2v1. And you know, IE now complete here for Sven, so he's going to be at a fairly strong point. Working on that Zeal as the third item. It was the Shiv second for Sneaky, and likely going to be an IE. Potential of going a different direction, but very likely will be the IE and focusing on teamfight damage.
Yep, and of course a build like that will help the late game scaling of Quinn. The old lethality Quinns, of course, they're built for skills. They're going for a fight right now in the front line. A quick Charmin knockup is there, and the re-engage comes across. Mithy is forced out, and a Lancer's Wife popped in time to just knock down Sven in the 2v1. Well played there, picked up one of the major carries of TSM, and just map control given over.
Just go straight onto the Baron at this point. I mean, when Sven is dead, there's no threat onto Licorice, so it's so easy to turn for a fight here. Because this Mundo is going to be so difficult to deal with, TSM is moving over. Greg has been great with the Baron steals.
That's Smite. He's got Flash. He's got a Blast going a lot of ways into the pit if they need it. Will it be a pull or will it be a Flash Chomp? You know, a Smite coming through, some way of making it a 50-50 or better for TSM. Chomp something about 20 seconds here for the Cho'Gath. If they wait that much time, it's a lot of crew damage. These are getting pushed out. Sneaky quite injured as well. This poke working really well for TSM. Can they find the re-engage? Versus gets another chunk down. Now go for the play. Mithy's going to drop. Beers has got as well. 2 for 0. And the chase in for Haunter. He's got Flash, but he's got nowhere to go for this one. He will not find Jensen. Baron's not aggroed. It's a 3 for 0, and now they can turn back on a Baron. Greg, though, is still alive. Does have Flash, does have Smite. They've got to push him out this pit somehow if they want to not risk it. Sneaky's the one for the job. Pushing forward, pushing Greg well out of range. Might even get the kill, and in fact, he may just do so. Doesn't want to ult for it, doesn't want to get in, but that's going to be a Baron picked up cleanly. Cloud9, 4 straight kills, and the Baron on top.
Nicely done there from Cloud9, and getting that pick on his Sven so big because there's no one else who can threaten the Mundo. So Blabber sees Mithy and Sven moving forward. Great block here from Zeyzal, shutting out a lot of the damage coming across, and then Sven does not get his ultimate off there, not able to actually back off and get out of the fight. And then you can see how easy this turn is. Licorice was tanking up the Baron for so long He sees them get close enough, despite the fact that Bjergsen did a good job poking out both Zeyzal and Sneaky, getting them fairly low. The turn is so hard to actually contest for TSM because there's just no threat onto Licorice. He can run straight through you. He has the Lulu to actually back him up there, and once he's in the middle of that team, there's no way this guy is going to die. There's no significant source of damage to actually knock him down, and then Hanser trying to flash in, finish off Jensen or Sneaky, gets locked up, can't get any kills.
The reset comes through, and now it's time to push down mid lane. Cloud9 have a wrecking ball of the composition. Now Bjergsen, he's got to watch out for this one. Kindred's on the chase. Almost gets the kill. Lambs buy some time. The knockup in for Braum. This could be catastrophic, though. TSM can fire back, and they found Zeyzal 1 for 0 so far. Overdive for Cloud9.
Yeah, but Sneaky pushing on the bottom side of the map. Huge minion wave here, so they are going to get a turret on the bottom side. They're still staying around in the mid lane. They will knock down that turret as well. Overextending a bit. They were close to getting some kills there. Blabber really has been playing aggressively, knows he's at a strong point, felt that he could go forward, pick up a kill, wasn't able to.
And that was the thing that he kind of was sad about himself about last week, said I played so much more aggressively in scrims. My team has to hold me back, but I've not been playing aggressively enough on stage. This is like more trademark Blabber. Let's go for hard tower, guys. Take the 1v1. Don't worry, I'll ult in time to not be traded, and he's been right almost every time.
Yeah, I mean, he is the guy that is starting a lot of these fights, and that's simply by popping the dance of arrows, jumping forward, looking to just get onto these squishy targets. I mean, when you are this far ahead as a Kindred, you really can take duels very, very effectively. He knows he has the Lulu in his back pocket to actually prevent him from being burst down. He has the QSS, so he should be able to always get that ultimate off in time. And as you said, so far he has been right. This one obviously did not work out, but still.
Yeah. What's crazy is, like, just take the like statement in isolation. Yes, I'm going to engage on a marksman by diving forward into Rakan Sejuani Cho'Gath. Yeah, it's cool, do it. But it's working, right? Like, that's...
Yeah.
It's so easy to be like, Blabber lost his game by engaging on Kindred, but Blabber's winning the game by engaging on Kindred, and he's playing it correctly.
Because the fact of the matter is, as long as he is doing that jump forward onto Bjergsen or Sven, one of the squishier targets, they cannot really stand and fight because he is backed up by the Lulu, he is shielded up and really empowered by that Braum blocking a lot of the damage coming through as well. So it makes him deceptively tanky when you have these kind of two supports really protecting you, and can be very tough to deal with. I mean, you see that Lulu shield, there's so much AP actually onto Jensen. It's already a 400-500 shield that is on a very low cooldown, not to mention stand behind me and all the additional stats and blocking power that Braum has.
Well, some important items have come through on TSM's side, though. Infinity Edge done now for both the bot lane marksmen of Sven and Sneaky. The Executioner's calling on the Xayah as well, plus the Merlin on the kind of Bjergsen, so the chance of knocking down that Moonhook is a little bit better. Top lane now being pushed out. This turret down to about 1/3 HP. Will TSM pull the trigger? Right now, just damage blocked out by Zeyzal. No issue so far. That turret now 25%.
Blabber is honestly just playing like a beast. He's sieging so aggressively here. He is the one getting all the damage down on those turrets as well, depending on Zeyzal and Jensen, who are standing back behind him to keep him safe, depending on Licorice to be blocking up a lot of those skill shots. And he has additional range over that Quinn right now, so it makes sense that he should be the one doing this. He's one bounty away from getting another range boost and actually getting up to that 600 range mark. As he's sitting on 6 bounties, 7 will be the next trigger.
Yeah, 4+3 each afterwards.
Quick mass.
Yep, I know we both know the character very well. I think I'm Mastery 6 and you're, 18.
It's my most played
You've like
champion.
900,000 mastery points or something.
No, not nearly that much.
Okay, fine. But a lot either way. Azale, a Kindred main, if anything else. Phil main, I mean, realistically. Either way, TSM still clearing up their jungle, and they are not catastrophically behind. It is certainly a substantial lead. This would, I'm almost certain, qualify as a major lead or deficit. But a 5,000 gold difference, far from insurmountable, just a little bit unlikely. TSM, though, still late game team. And Cloud9, of course, famously terrible in late game so far this split. They've tried to find a roster that works, that can close out games. I think this iteration has not thrown very many leads, so might be a better look. We'll see if they can make this one happen.
Yeah, and it's going to come down to a lot on how these fights are executed, because while Blabber is playing this kind of risky style and jumping forward, and it is working, if there's one fight where he hops forward and then gets flash feasted, bursted instantly by the Zoe, dies without anything happening, then everything can fall apart very quickly, right? So they are kind of walking this knife's edge, and so far doing a great job at it. We'll have to see if TSM can kind of capitalize and punish him for some of that aggressive play.
Yeah.
And when Bjergsen gets to his death cap as he's getting very close, that one shot can become much more of a reality. The QSS doesn't always give you a time to react if you just die from full.
Yeah, something to definitely watch out for. But maybe gets away from Mythy's R flash W. If he's able to QSS flash in time, that's going to be the quick test for him. Licorice a bit aggressive, and sort of a 1v2 is going to be found out. Gets some damage onto him, but the Paddles are not going to miss, so now able to re-engage, even with Mundo right in front of them. All 5 down there with Cho'Gath going for a bit. Not going to get that. Red cleaned up by Sneaky. No issues for C9.
Yeah, again, if Sven is not hitting Licorice, he will never die, unless he opts into a fight where he just decides to stay there forever and die, right? Like, it takes such a ridiculously long time to kill him off with this composition. You know, Zoe is not built to kill someone like Mundo. Sejuani and Cho'Gath take so long to burn him down as well, so it's completely dependent upon Sven, and Sven cannot really be sent out to a side lane to answer Licorice either, so he really gets the ability to kind of play with impunity. He walks wherever he wants, he pressures wherever he wants, as long as he knows where Sven is, because if you get locked up and that marksman damage is coming through, that can be enough with the Mortal Reminder to really punch through and take that Mundo down quickly.
So Cloud9 just reset and bought 10 control wards.
It's a lot.
Yep, they just fill the inventories in. Only Sneaky is above vision, which, you know, such is life, I guess. Life of a bot lane.
W.
Yeah. That definitely kills wards. That definitely reveals. It doesn't. But there's going to be a fight around this side of the map right now. Bumper walking forward, wants damage onto Grig, has to respect the Xayah root, but only 2 feathers out. Is going to be okay. This time stun, burns QSS, gets right back out. Mundo, by the way, with Sneaky, pushing the behind side, haunts her down to only 2,000 health, which for a Cho, not that big anymore. Could be a re-engage for Licorice. There's going to be a bubble onto him. He will be drowsy. The back to bird form, and Sneaky's going to walk out. He casts Fly, out they go.
And C9 just goes straight to Baron again. They have vision around that. TSM is going to have to face check in. Mundo pretty far away from his team, though.
And he still has ult, though. Licorice actually never had to burn that during the first fight, so he's still fully healthy. Baron. He has 10,000 health to burn through, as Baron has even less than him. They're going for the damage up right now. Mithy on the wings, 1,200 health. He's going to pick that with the smite, and now it could be a re-engage with Baron buff on, but a missed Grom ultimate. Glacial Fissure does not land. So they're still going to go forward. Big Paddle Star hits. They got to watch out for Zeyzal. Pops Locket. Now Haunted at half HP, being chased down. This could be very, very big. Can they burn him? Has to flash away. And a sleepy Braum will put up the shield and walk backwards, stays alive. Now a re-engage comes through. Looking still at the fight. Slams the fight, comes down. Look at the damage, though. Could they pick him off? Sneaky gets one. Will there be a trade? Not just yet. Sneaky kites away, stays alive against Haunter, who is losing his own health and 2 for 0. Beershel on the wings. Cannot quite get that kill. Zeyzal stays up on this one. Cloud9, 2 for 0 in the fight. Make it a third as Jensen finds the other Danish member to kill. And it's now Sven who gets flashed on. Up into the air. Looks for more. Gets a root, but not in the kills. And it's onto the inhibitor turret. Sneaky towards the back lines, but it's for the minions. This could be a Cloud9 win right now.
Yeah, this is probably just going to be the game straight up. Sven is going to try to get back into the fountain, heal up, and they need to defend this, but Mundo's back to full HP. There's a lot of healthy members on Cloud9. It's a 2v5.
2v5 with Baron. Sven's already gone. Grig against the world gets a single trade kill on the jungler. Only the second death of the game. This is certainly going to be curtains right now. The Nexus, the target. Cloud9 get their 4th win, taking down TSM.
Nicely done there by Cloud9. Now 2-1, I believe, with this roster. So, you know, having a lot more success. They have settled on their 5. They knocked down TSM, and, you know, putting TSM down below 500 now. Cloud9 moves 2 games away from first. The league is that close. They are the 10th place team, but they are 2 games away from first place. And, you know, with performances like that, you certainly have hope as a Cloud9 fan that they can make the climb. Their fate is still in their hands, and with improvements, they can make playoffs. They can make Worlds once again.
Absolutely the case. Cloud9, 2 wins behind first, 1 win behind a playoff spot. Hugs from some former teammates and friends as Cloud9 vs TSM, a battle for the ages. Not typically a battle towards the bottom of the table, but this time around, it's been a struggle street in the summer split. C9, as you mentioned, 2-1 on this roster, hoping to keep moving up.
And it was definitely a team effort here for Cloud9, but I think one of the most exciting things as a Cloud9 fan is the fact that Blabber was such a standout player here today. That was by far his best game on the LCS stage. He looked extremely confident, always moving forward, knew how to play with his lead, was using those Kindred ultimates so effectively, and I'm just super impressed by that play.
I mean, it's a bet paying off for Cloud9. I mean, in Spring Split, it was Licorice brought him up from